Okay, so in the last video, we talked about intervals and how it measures the distance between two notes, how far apart are they from each other. It's actually important that we went over that because this topic we're going into has to do with your knowledge and understanding of intervals. And if you don't understand that yet, you might want to rewatch that video before coming into this one. Okay, so in this video we're going to talk about tones and semitones. Okay, so in music, a semitone, which is also known as a half step or a half tone, is the smallest interval that exists in music. Here we go with that word again, interval. And when we say interval, we mean the distance between two notes. So if the distance between two notes, like if we take two notes and find what the smallest interval is, that's what a semitone is. Okay, on a keyboard, it is the shortest distance between two keys, as we can see here. All right, so I'm going to kind of write down the notes here. So this is a C, this is a D, E, F, G, A, B, and C. Okay, now if I play C, there's actually a key next to C that's not D. It's this black key here. Okay, we've been ignoring this for a long time, but now we're going to talk about it. So if I play C and then I proceed to play this key here, I've played a half step away from C. Okay, because there's nothing else. Like, this is the smallest distance I can go when I'm playing the keyboard. That's the shortest distance I could go. I mean, I could remember when we talked about intervals. Okay, I could go from C, okay, and I play F. All right, I play C first and I play F. What happens is that I've played a fourth from C. Remember, that's what we talked about in intervals. If I play C and the next thing I do is play E, I've played the third. So let's try to hear what that sounds like, or see if we can demonstrate that. So this is C. Okay, I play C and then I go and play F. I've played a fourth note away from C. If I play C and then I play A, I've played a sixth note away from C. But now those distances are quite large. Okay, even if I play C and I play the second away from C, there's still something smaller that I could play after C. Okay, if you're measuring the distance, and that is this key here. Okay, this key here is called a C sharp. So if I play C and I don't quite make it all the way to D because there's actually a black key in between, if I play this black key, I'm playing a half tone, a semitone, a half step, whatever you choose to call it. But the fact that there's nothing between these two keys means I'm playing a semitone. Okay, so let's take that again. Okay, let's take that again. So there's this key here, this note, and then this one here again. There's nothing between them. Like, literally, you go from here to here. That's a half step. Now let's look at this other just write that well. Between E and F, now there's no other key between them. There's no black key, there's no orange key, there's nothing. It's just E and F. So between E and F, I play a half step. Okay, now if we talk about playing between A and B, okay, if I play A and then I play B, I've played a whole step. Why did I play a whole step? Because there's a key here that I actually skipped on the keyboard. So anytime you skip a key, you're playing a whole step, and anytime you don't skip a key, you're playing a half step. It doesn't matter if it's from a black key to a white key, or from a white key to a black key, or from a white key to a white key. If you skip a key, you're playing a whole step or a whole tone, and if you don't skip, you're playing a semitone, because a semitone is the smallest interval in music. That means there's nothing small that there are no notes in between. Okay, there are no notes in between the two notes you're playing. I think that's a better way for you to understand what a semitone is that there are actually no notes in between what the two notes you're playing. Whereas if we looked at this example that we were talking about, okay, if I play G, let's do it. If I play G first and then I play this, there's a note here, so that's not a semitone. That's not even a whole tone. That's like two tones. Okay, so like if the less distance you try to cover, okay, but between a note and another note that there's no distance in between, that's a semitone. Okay, all right, so let's move on. All right, so this is just another illustration of what a tone, a whole tone, and a semitone looks like. All right, so they said this, between this and this, if you play these two, because you skipped this black key, that means you're playing a whole tone. All right, and if you're playing these two black keys, okay, because you skip this key, this white key here in the middle, that means it's a whole tone. If you play these two white keys, it's a whole tone. Why? Because there's a black key in the middle that you skipped. Now, if you're playing this white key and this black key, now there's no note or key in the middle, so it's a semitone. Same thing goes to this, and same thing goes from here to here. So that's what a whole tone and a semitone looks like. Now, the notes on the black keys on a piano are referred to as sharps and flats, okay? And we're going to get into this shortly. But for now, we can say that C and C sharp, the distance, the interval, is a semitone, okay? Whereas the interval between C and D is a whole tone, okay? So between C and C sharp is a semitone, and between C and D is a whole tone. But if you notice, between E and F, there are no black keys, so what are they? A semitone apart, okay? Same thing with B and C. There are no black keys there, so the interval is a semitone, okay? Now, it's important for you to know this across any instrument. This is very important for you to know. That's why I put it on a separate slide, that between E and F, no black keys, okay? Between B and C, no black keys. Okay, so they're semitones away from each other. There are no sharps or flats or black keys. It's just a half step. You're not jumping bridges here. We're just going straight. Whereas other notes actually have a black key in between. Okay, so remember, E and F, B and C. These are two special things to know. Okay. Now, one more time for a demonstration. Just one more time so you get this. This is C, D, E, F, G, A, B. Remember, I know this is C. I'm not just starting, not all keyboards start with C, okay? So I'm not just starting, oh, every time you pick a keyboard, it's C. No. Every time you see two black keys together, a C comes before it, and every time you see three black keys, an F comes before it. So not every keyboard starts on C. So don't just assume that the first note you play is a C. No. Okay, now that we've hit that nail on the head. So if that's C, this is a C sharp. That's what the black key is. This is a D sharp. We're going to talk about this later, but for now, just bear with me. So this is an F sharp, G sharp, and A sharp. Okay, so like I said, between a C and a C sharp, that's a semitone. Okay, between a D and an E, that's a whole tone, or you could just say a tone, right? Between A and B, that's a whole tone. How about between E and F? Semitone. Okay, because there's literally nothing you could play between E and F. Alright, so we're gonna stop here in this video and continue talking more about this. We're going to talk about sharps and flats in the next video. Alright, see you there.